Shalom, shalom. I'm going to start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Elohim La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Ha RAWCHAA. I say double honors to the elders, to the apostles that told me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim, of course, to the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Akwat out there listening and learning, Lord willingly. This is edifying. Shalom to Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, which subscribe to the truth. To you, I say shalom. To Brother RAWCHAA, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit, through the power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Yahweh meaning He is, He exists, or He to be. Ba'ashem, Ba'as in Haz the Hashem, His name, Yahushai, and He saves or He delivers. True name to the Most High God and the Son, who ignorantly called God, and Jesus Christ, whose true name in the Hebrew, Salaki, the true name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. This lesson is pretty much like an impromptu, I was meditating, not really meditating. I thought about some stuff. Spirit jumped on me to do a lesson, but it's so much going on. And it's more like a rant, I do rants, my videos anyway. There'd be a lot going on. I get a lot of stimulation, a lot of stimulus. Satan always busy, and that's, I guess, the point of the lesson. I noticed through the Spirit, brothers been talking about being circumspect. What's that, Ephesians chapter 5? Being circumspect, meaning not only being circumspect in your, in the body, as far as your physical, your carnal body. Watch it, because if you've been in the streets, you always supposed to keep your head on a swivel. I know the brother titled his lesson that keep your head on a swivel, meaning being circumspect. So swivel spins. Circumspect means to like to circle or circumference. All around yourself, and yeah, that's absolutely true. Brothers. Or men that's been in the streets, men that's actually experienced shit, to constantly be, they was talking about how ADHD pretty much was like an instinct. It wasn't really like this fucked up behavior that they try to play it as back in the day, because it was so many dangers. They said that pretty much, because pretty much attention deficit disorder is people focused on everything around them, not just one specific thing, And, when you got a lot of danger around you, you're supposed to be circumspect. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, damn, at the end of the day, not only you're supposed to be circumspect in the carnal body, there's a lot going on, but you're supposed to especially be circumspect in the spirit. And I was thinking about, because something recently just happened with my children, and, just Satan is very busy right now. And I was telling my children that because first a father or a parent, literally, I grew up old school, so I grew up around the time when, I remember my father's so smooth, he would know people and wouldn't even let me know the people because that's how much he playing chess moves and shit, right? And there's a guy that owned a store right across the street from where I grew up. And this man was the big time weed man, Only reason why I caught it, because one day I watched him pretty much serve somebody, and he did it smooth, but, when sometimes children be observant, that's why you gotta be careful of what you do around, be mindful of what you do around children. But the whole time, my father knew this guy. They was from they grew up together. And my father was like a pro-militant, he appeared that way. He had a persona, to show you how cold these people be, like how these actors and entertainers are. They literally appear one way and be another way. So my father got a name for himself. I'm not going to say my father's name. But like I said, I can understand why I'm in my predicament. Put it like that. With that being said, I just lost my train of thought. It was the point of bringing all that shit up. Again, we need to be mindful in the spirit and being circumspect because Satan is busy and there's a lot going on. And he going to try to throw those curveballs to get you off your square. I watched the brother. I didn't watch no video. I've been just seeing titles because that's where the spirit's leading. And brothers was talking about pretty much patience requires strength. Yeah, it's a strong thing to be patient. When you can fuck somebody up, but you literally hold back, that's like strength. That shows what true power you really have. The scriptures talk about vengeance is of the Lord, wait upon the Lord, But we all it's easier said than done when you're not dealing with a situation. It's always like that. And everybody know how, they feel about their children. You fuck with your children, you fuck with a person's life. And that's why shit's gonna be so crazy out here, because of the fact people gonna be doing things to try to provide for their family. Now the thing is, we don't have any power or control over anything. Show you case in point, some people telling me about that Hurricane Eric. And I, hey, some people telling me do a video on it, but I've been so busy, I did 2 videos yesterday. Tell me why. I didn't even know it was a tornado, right? I work, far out west. I live on the east. I didn't even know it was a tornado. I found out through the guy at my job. So he like, well, if the lights go out, power go out, we gonna meet over here, yada, yada. So I simply asked him, like, does that happen a lot? He like, we ain't had it happen in a long time. Tell me why when I get home, my power out. And it's showing you just literally, like, that ultimately is the will of the Lord. And, I'm looking at it, yes, inconvenience. But then I was thinking about what brothers was talking about, how, when the storm knocked out the powder, how they enjoyed it. And I get what they mean now, because I enjoy it, because you could see the misery on these people's faces. You can see the fear in these people. I bump heads with my neighbor's family because they don't know me. You know what I mean? But just for your aura to look at my aura like I'm a demon shows you must be the fucking demon. So like all kind of shit, and I'm not gonna speak on the camera, has transpired over this. But me and her get along. So now they looking stupid, because the thing is this. Y'all can't be here to protect this lady. When this shit go all break, like said, all said and done, when this shit all cuts loose, who gonna be there to protect this old ass lady? The spirit gotta be on me too. And I plan on getting the fuck away from her. Brothers in that spirit of people talking about how it's gonna be a dog eat dog world, and you already see that manifesting now. Scriptures talk about the love of many shall wax cold. It made me think about Nahum chapter 1. The Most High God have of His way in the whirlwind, and the clouds are the dust of His feet. The Lord sent this tornado to calm everybody down. It's beautiful, because I was telling my children, again, show you the mercy and the beautifulness in it. A huge tree fell down in our backyard, and I realized why the power's out, because it fell on the power lines in my backyard. And I didn't see it at first. Once my neighbor brought it to my attention, I was like, damn, you know what I mean? So I showed my children, and I said, at the end of the day, yeah, this is inconvenient, but that's also a blessing, because these old ass trees, hundreds of years old, one of the ones that's like really rooted in, showing you the power of the Lord too. Because you ever see that, some trees are so strong, Esau or people that own tree removal services, they can cut the tree down but still can't remove the stump, because that's how strong the roots are. The Lord can knock that shit down without any hesitation, without no problems. And again, that you made me think of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. They should say peace and safety and the sudden destruction shall come upon them. I was not expecting none of this to happen. I was expecting to get home, boom. Now, I'm not really worried, because again, like I say, my kids go to a sitter, I'm gonna be at work, I got a deep freezer right now, that shit froze. But a lot of them people, I told you how I looked the last time the power went out. And I was trying to explain to my neighbor while she talking about, I've been over here for 25 years. Well, they showed you what they thought of you, because this street is full of older people, and they waited 4 days to come look out for y'all. And it's hot. So all I did was the righteous thing. I'm like, yeah, stay hydrated, because you an older lady. But, just that quick, just like I was telling my children out the blue, it's this little demonic ass girl that literally is fucking with her. And it's through jealousy and whatnot. But then she's really a demon. You got to think about this. Whenever a motherfucker lying and they can get somebody else to lie, that's a demon. The little girl putting all this weave and shit, the mother putting all the weave in the shit, in this little girl hair. And my daughter's got natural hair. So every time I get their hair done, she probably jealous of their hair, because she don't fuck with none of them other kids except for my daughters. And I was explaining to her, my children, like, well, that's probably a good thing. At first I was upset, I was frustrated. And then I thought about something brothers was saying. They was like, being patient, the devil, what's that, Peter, the devil roam around as a Roman lion seeking to whom he may devour, roughly paraphrase. That's pretty much what was just happening. Because I almost went off of instinct and carnality. But then I had to think about it based off of, and it's so spiritual, because again, a lot of the things I used to go through my personal walk in the truth, I was with a cap for a long time, but brothers wasn't sitting down chopping it up with me or, giving me suggestions for whatever reason. Maybe I'm not a likable person. I'm likable enough when you need something, though. You know what I mean? And maybe that's not the case. Again, like I said, I've experienced true brotherly love through this truth. That's why I didn't give the truth up. Even if I would have met all niggas, I know what the Lord did for me. And all that did was, my testimony solidified my test. Again, I'm being tried. Again, I'm so grateful that the Lord did take the truth because, again, I could clearly see, like, we right there, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know what my lot is, but at the same time, I'm just grateful to Wada Yahweh Shimei Shai for, not taking the spirit away from me. And even through this, what I'm going through, the Lord Yahweh Shimei Shai is still magnificent. But yeah, I was frustrated, because, this little demonic ass broad, you know what I mean? Because I'm old school. I grew up in, like I said again, that's the point, called Yahweh Shimei Shai. So I never knew that guy, that older guy, knew my father. And my father played it where he never spoke to him. But come to find out, when he see us doing, like my brother was sneaking out at a young age, and me and my brother favor a lot, even though we don't look nothing alike. And about a bitch, that show you how stupid people is. I'm a whole different complexion, but they say we look just alike. And anyhow, my brother used to sneak out when he was running the streets. I'm like 7 years younger than my brother. They thought it was me sneaking out. So he was finding all this out from this man, because they grew up together. They knew each other. Long story short, I grew up where somebody see you doing something, you could speak on something. Well, somebody was like, this little demonic ass little girl was fucking with my child. So I came, and I didn't cuss her out or nothing. I was just like, little girl, can you please leave my fucking kids alone? I don't know what the fuck wrong with you. You know what I mean? Like, literally, I didn't even say what the fuck. I said, you want to play with little girl's hair? I pay for her hair. Who are you? I said, now, just like your mommy pay to buy that shit and put it in your head, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you want to play with somebody's hair, play with your own fucking hair, you know what I'm saying? And, pretty much, my daughter happened, to show you how it was all spirits involved, my daughter happened to go in the house to use the bathroom and hear the mother talking shit. Now, I don't believe in talking through kids, so at the end of the day, but this bitch talking, that's why the daughter act the way she act, because of this demonic ass woman, her mama. Pure demon. And that's why a lot of these fucking demons is going to catch pure hell. But that's Satan really trying to, sift you out this truth. Because I was thinking about it, and I told the babysitter, I'm like, I need to speak to this lady, because again, before I do something that's going to pretty much penalize me and put me back in prison, because I know we all saying what we do for our children. But the thing is, the cold part about the Lord is, we know we got to hold fast to the scriptures. And again, that's easier said than done. I remember when I went out to Cali, because my demon took my kids and ran all the way to fucking California. This is how much a demon this bitch was, right? So when I finally came to grips with, okay, she got my kids, I can't do nothing about it, that's when the Lord made her ass come back. But I remember that's when they was first passing them laws about them homosexuals to come teach your kids. And brothers was highly offended and highly upset about that. Now, I'm not saying brothers would have did anything, but what I'm saying is, it's easier said than done. And the thing is, if you really call yourself a disciple of the Lord, you got to overcome those carnal moments. Scriptures talk about ruling thy spirit. So my thing is, like I told the babysitter, because I'm like, before I do something stupid, I will remove myself and my children from the situation. Because if you know this bitch is a little demon, like, this bitch is a little demon. She's stealing from... One time, I'm going to tell you something. When they fucked with my taxes, right, my kids gave me like $600. Now, I'm like... Now, I wasn't really hurting for money. We just was fucked up, you know what I mean? But, man, listen. $600. And come to find out, that little girl had something to do with it. One of them. Like, two of my daughters just gave me $600. One gave me like $2 one time, and then one gave me $4. And I'm like, man... So, the second time, I'm like, hold up. You know what I mean? I'm like, hold up. The first time, I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, hold up. So I'm literally waiting for somebody to call, like some money came up and said, nobody ever called. So then I told the girl, first, I told my daughter, go back and say, you sure you don't need this money? And the girl like, no. But they was talking about how she give money to people all the time. Then it made me think, you got to understand these schools and cahoots and all that old shit. Like, take the time to think about this. When I was growing up, I went to a particular school, and now that same school has become a school of the arts. The school that my children go to now is so old. My oldest sister, which is like I forget how exactly how old my sister is, but I want to say she might be like 10 years older than me. That school still is around, but now that's an art school. So they not really, they bringing Jake back to perform for me, nigga. We'll fund these niggas playing sports, or we'll fund these niggas making music, and then they gonna take that shit away. But as far as leading anything, no, we don't need no nigga to do that. We need you to perform and dance, sing, monkey. You know what I mean? But it made me question, because like I said again, this place, like this school in the ghetto. I'm in the ghetto, and literally y'all always trying to get us to buy some shit. Now, if you fucking struggling, why would you think we got the money? But saying all that to say this, it made me think, like out the blue, just a thought popped up in my mind. I said, how you know? Because a particular lady that worked at the school keep on trying to get me to be super involved with shit. And again, I told you how people know people. You'd be surprised. You got to remember, it's a network. It's a hive mind. It's an association or organization where they look out for those that's associated or a part of it. What do you think Freemasonry is? They doing some demonic shit and they demons, but they get, why do you think a Freemason can go in front of the judge and have a crime and looking at being incarcerated, but literally get a pass? Why do you think a relative of a police officer could show that courtesy car and get up out that shit? Why do you think, what's that movie? It was a movie where it was a dude that was in the streets, and it was a dude that was a cop, and his father was a cop, and his father got killed by a dude that was in the streets, and the son that was like the fuck up, he was so hurt by his dad, because his dad, even though his son was a fuck up, loved his son. He accepted him even though he was in the streets, or he was a nigga, whatever the fuck case may be, and he changed his life. He became a police officer, and his whole motivation was to get the guy that killed his father. And at the end, and it's based on a true story, I can't remember the name of the movie, and it's based in New York. And in the end, when they caught up with the nigga that motherfucking killed his father, all the police officers turned their back while he killed the nigga. Because at the end, that's an organization. What they say, that's the biggest gang that you're going to get involved with. Just like the government is the biggest, organized crime situation that you're going to deal with. But saying all that to say this, and because again, I'm just kind of lightweight rambling. There's a lot going on, and Satan is busy. So remain circumspect, you know what I mean? Again, this devil is trying to, catch you up and get you to, he doesn't want everybody to make it. And I always wanted all the brothers to make it, because, I haven't had many friends that I can say is a true friend, So, maybe my approach was it a little bit too heavy-handed, or maybe, like I've never been a people person. I can say some shit that you'd be like, oh, that was slick or enlightening or whatnot, but no, I don't deal with people well. I'm an antisocial person, like Donnie Darko. That nigga said, well, I have, socialization issues as well, because for the most part, when a person trying to befriend me, I'm already trying to dissect what the fuck you on. I don't trust people. But I wholeheartedly trust Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua. And I do know he works through people. So again, I hope that was inspirational for somebody, because again, I'm watching the spirit move, brothers making certain videos like, you got to be patient in the spirit, and, you got to be circumspect, and not just carnally, like watching what's going on, in real time, around you and your surroundings, but spiritually. It's too much stuff going on, and Satan is trying to sift. He always is. But what's the scripture say? Least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Satan will jump on somebody to do something, and especially right now, you got too much shit going on. And I had to tell my children, I was like, that's a lightweight a blessing when people lying on you, because you believe in Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua. And I basically told them to just pretty much rebuke the spirit, rebuke Satan. I'm going to teach them, Anya Gayar Kashantan, in the name of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua. I'm going to teach them that little prayer, because again, that show you how everything is spiritually leveling up. A brother just did a video titled that, The Spirit Levels You Up. And it's actually eye-opening, because it's showing you, if you got to be circumspect now, especially a person like me that's just by themselves. That's the beautiful thing about the brotherhood, because you got multiple people watching, but at the same time, everybody don't be watching. You know what I mean? Like, right now is to really be laser focused. But it's also a beautiful thing, like I said again, to see the things written in the scriptures. That means that, like, literally, like, I mean, it pissed me off because that's your child, something you love. You like I said, people get killed for less. How much more so for something like that, fucking with your child? But at the same time, that's part of the scriptures too. We ain't got no power over that. If they come in and take our children away from us, what the fuck you really gonna be able to do? Nothing. I got a mean dog. A brother tell you that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, that dog could turn into a cur if the Lord want the spirit on that dog to be a cur. And I got aggressive fucking dogs. But I watch certain shit they do. See, it's a dog. It could be a dangerous breed, but doesn't necessarily have to be mean. Or it has to be dangerous. That's why pit bulls get such a bad rap. Because they are fighting breed. Because again, they don't recognize pain. They were bred to not feel it. I remember the elder said that you got to be a spiritual pit bull in this thing. Ultimately, all the Lord taking us through is to build us up for that day. And again, like I said, we too close. Like I said, you got war brimming. You got the technology brimming. You got legislation just passed brimming. I mean, like I said, and pretty much Jacob's trouble and the mark being implemented can happen at any day and time. Think about how quickly they build a building in a couple months, 3 months. You really think it's going to take forever to build the infrastructure for this thing if they don't already got it? So if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Asian, I implore you to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments of your power, whose true name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Loyam, by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Ha RAWCHAA, double honors to the elders, to the apostles that taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim, across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Aqua Thought listening, learning, Lord willingly, this was edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time, Lord willingly, shalom, shalom. Kwam Yasharallah and Mawathala Babal. Hey, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna end with this. Don't be surprised if that shit happen again, because again, it's just spiritually that Hurricane Eric kept on, and I was like, damn, what I mean? I watched it go from just a tropical storm to a hurricane quickly, and pretty much that's what we getting the effects of these tornadoes from. But if you look outside, like I'm outside right now because I don't have any power. I call myself trying to go and charge my phone and my chargers at the library, and guess what? Them bitches closed because it's Juneteenth. And I was laughing. I made a joke to somebody I know, like, out of all the days they don't give a nigga, they want to have. So in my area is nothing but niggas. You can't even charge your phone because of the fact the places that's free to let you charge is closed. You might can go in McDonald's and sit and buy some shit. I ain't about to do all that. You know what I mean? Like, again, I'm welcoming the silence. I love the fact that my children don't freak out when they literally see this shit. Scriptures talk about raise up a child in the way they should go, and they shall not depart. They believe in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, and that's going to mean a lot in these coming last days. So with that, shalom, shalom, and Mawathala Babal.